You're on your healing journey, getting ready to live the life of your dreams. But why do you feel worse? Why does it feel so lonely? Why does everything feel uncomfortable in a new way? It can be really hard. So this episode is your reminder that the in-between phase of growth, healing, and self-care is valid, even if it's excruciating sometimes. Welcome back to the Stella podcast, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe and follow if you're not already. So this episode is for people that are in that in-between phase. Maybe you started therapy recently, maybe you have just been leveling up and wanting more for yourself, outgrowing unhealthy habits, getting older. I have found especially that this is a huge stage of that early 20s to later 20s period of life. It's weird. Your brain develops, you lock in, and all of a sudden, everything that was fine for you at one point is suddenly like, ew, or it's uncomfortable, or it just feels off, or like you need to be doing something else. You're ready for something else, but sometimes you don't know what that something else is yet. And it's like, what am I doing with my life? So we're going to be getting into all of that today, from identifying this feeling to coping with it to just making that transition easier for ourselves and allowing ourselves grace until we get to the next stage fully. I'm also going to be sharing some of my personal, experiences with this feeling and just feeling weird. I feel like this is such a common feeling and experience of life, but like I have said before on this podcast, I feel like there's just not a lot of media representation and like even just education about these different, almost like micro stages of life. And I have said this before, so excuse me if you've heard me say it before. But I feel like especially in the United States, it's so like high school focused. Some college, like people love their college years, and there is a lot. Like I remember reading 17 magazine and Teen Vogue growing up, and there was a lot focused on like college. There's all of these shows and coming of age movies where it's like, oh, graduation, and then, oh, that the end, happily ever after. And it's just not like that. And so I think we're very ill-equipped to deal with these weird feelings and transitions when we do reach these stages. I think especially your 20s, and again, that early 20s to later 20s time, it's weird because you have people that are getting married and having kids. Some of them are like on their third kid, like people you went to school with. And then you have people that are like already kind of seems like they've given up, and then it's like just personally like, wow, some of my interests are different now, and like I feel different, but I don't really know how or why or like how that's going to manifest or what I need to focus on. It's like overwhelming. So anyway, it's a lot. So my hope is that we feel less alone after talking about it, As always, leave any of your thoughts or personal experiences about this down below. And before we get into it, I do want to give a shout out to HelloFresh. HelloFresh is a meal kit service that provides fresh ingredients and easy to follow recipes for each week. It's definitely great if you're into cooking or you want to get more into cooking. I also love that they give you these really unique recipes that are still super easy. So even after you have the box and eat it, you can hold on to the recipes and make it again later. Like, I love that. And I have a special deal for you guys. You can get 10 free meals and free shipping on your first box with my code, and I will link it down below. So definitely check it out and take advantage of that offer. So I feel like a huge part of healing and like starting your healing journey is letting go of a lot. And this could look like letting go of certain relationships and friendships, and then also letting go of certain habits and maybe just lifestyle, just ways that you used to live your life that don't serve you anymore. I feel like we don't really talk about the loneliness that this can bring again. It's like kind of this idea, if I am giving up things that I know are bad for me or unhealthy for me and I'm choosing better for myself, I should feel better. But instead, again, there's this transition period and you can end up feeling very alone and almost like this dip in confidence. I feel like especially for me, a big thing has been not drinking. Basically, this whole year, I haven't drank. I feel like one of my main kind of social things I would do is like go out. I just feel like that's what a lot of people do. I mean, in life, but especially in your early 20s. And I was just feeling like not good. Like it just wasn't even fun anymore. I feel like it started to take me a lot longer to recover. And this is just all, I think, part of getting older. You know, like your body just starts responding differently to alcohol and like not getting enough sleep. But I just also felt like nothing was coming out of this. Like it was kind of that thing of, you know, the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results. And it's kind of like, okay, why am I doing this? I think also being on this path of wanting to, you know, overcome things and just feel more aligned with myself and more confident and just more, yeah, like aligned with my purpose and discovering myself and like getting on that vibration or like that kind of track of life. I was realizing that drinking was taking away from that. When you drink, there's just so much that you're not aware of, you know, and I think in trying to really listen to my intuition and strengthen it, especially when it comes to relationships, and just have everything in my life be cohesive. And I have talked about that here and there over the past few months. But yeah, I'm really proud of myself because now 6 months of the year has gone by and I have not gotten drunk this whole year. It's kind of gotten me more used to this, like, feeling of just being more confident and just better sober in my right mind when I have my full like intuition, all my senses are on point and I can make clear rational decisions. But yeah, that was still definitely a transition, I think, especially when, you know, people are used to asking, like if people would ask me to go get drinks, there would sometimes just be this feeling like, oh, I actually don't want to do that. I think it kind of made me reevaluate certain people because if I knew I wasn't going to be drinking, like it's not like I would avoid the situation because it's like, oh, I'm not drinking, but it's like, oh, I actually don't want to be around this person. Like the thought of being around them, having to converse, and I don't have a drink, that actually sounds bad. You know, versus some people, it's like, yeah, of course, we can do that. I'm not going to drink, but like you can, or we can get coffee, or we could do something else, you know? It's like about us connecting. But then you realize like, oh, some people you just, that's what you do is you would drink together and that's it. And it's like, there's not really, like, I can only be around you because I'm like inebriated. And also with like certain guys and dating and stuff, it's like, oh, I actually don't like you. So it's good because it's giving you that clearer just sense of reality and like you're more in touch with yourself. But then it's also like, damn, who am I gonna hang out with? But then, like, that realization, yes, I know this is in my best interest. I don't want to hang out with people that I don't want to be around sober, but there's, like, that kind of period where it's like, okay, then who do I like hanging out with? And kind of trying to rediscover that. So I think that's just an important thing to keep in mind. Something can be the right decision, and it can still feel hard or weird or just uncomfortable, or you could feel lonely, but it's like, okay, minor setbacks, temporary discomfort or like loneliness or maybe feeling like you're being left, like you're missing out, but in the grand scheme of things, you are putting yourself more on that path of like alignment to yourself, and it's allowing space for people that you do want to be around sober or like a better match of a partner for you. It's getting you closer to that instead of like you're wasting your time. Or, you know, a classic example is like you give a guy a chance or like go out with a guy just because you didn't want to like stay in the house. No, it is so much better to be by yourself. Like, seriously. So as far as this middle kind of in between space, it's weird because it's like you're not necessarily fully healed or like you're new version of yourself yet, or like your upgraded self or your best self. But then it's like, so what am I? And I think this is why a lot of people find it hard to change because we want what's familiar to us. You know, we want to feel safe. We want to feel like we can kind of predict what's going to happen. And that's why it's so hard to like, from the easier side of things, change like aesthetics. Maybe you feel uncomfortable going around with like full beat or like looking cute to like leaving an unsafe relationship. You know, it's like we want what's predictable and what's safe even if we know it's not the best for us. And when you're kind of wanting a better life for yourself, there is that sense of insecurity in the sense of you can't predict what's going to happen because it's new to you and you haven't done this before. So just know, y'all, whenever you choose yourself, even if it feels scary and you're unsure and you're like, there's voices of doubt in your head, like, I don't know, that is where you truly build self-confidence and self-trust. And you can always make things work for yourself if you choose yourself in that way. Versus something that's predictable, something that's like you've always done, or like someone you've always been with, you're gonna hit a wall. And you want to get out before you hit that wall. Like things can just kind of feel stagnant or like maybe uncomfortable or boring for so long, or like, oh, I can put up with this person's behavior for now. But that accumulates over time, and that's when bad things happen. So when you are the one to make the change and instigate the change and choose better and choose yourself, so many more opportunities will open up to you versus like waiting around and being scared and like, oh, like, I don't know. And then life makes something happen for you where you're forced to remove yourself from the situation or change the situation, you know? So practice sitting with discomfort. And you can like literally do this, like meditating, going without your phone, things like cold plunges, you know, increasing your ability to be in kind of an uncomfortable situation. And just keep reminding yourself that choosing yourself is leading you to where you want to be and better circumstances and closer to your ideal life or ideal self or ideal vision. And it's completely normal to have these thoughts, you know, like if you're staying home on a Friday night, for example, and you kind of know that's what you want to do, like maybe you're tired, but then you open IG and like people are at a party, you're like, your friends are getting drinks and you're like, should I be doing that? Like, I don't know. And it's kind of like FOMO, but then you're like, do I actually want to do that? So again, it's like you can be making the right decision for yourself and still have these voices of doubt and like, am I making the right decision? Is this silly? Like, am I thinking about it too deep? In terms of thinking and like almost romanticizing and wanting to go back to what's familiar, you know what's so crazy, y'all? So if you're not familiar with my story, I lived in LA from like end of 2016 to 2020, end of 2022. But I think especially living the pandemic there, it's already such a spread out, isolating place. And I think, you know, spending the pandemic there, I was just very sick of living in such a spread out place. Basically, anytime I came to New York, I felt so much better. I was like, this is what I want, because I lived in downtown LA and very cool in some aspects. I loved, you know, being able to walk to Whole Foods and like do all my errands. But then there's just this vibe. It's like, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. Like I was trying to recreate the New York lifestyle in downtown LA, and it's just not. Like, it feels so unsafe. So I did end up moving to New York and just feeling so much better in so many ways because of the walkability, the diversity, the sense of community, being around more people, being around a lot of different people, different cultures. Like, I just love all of that. So anyway, I know I made the right decision. With that being said, especially the first year was rough. It was a lot harder emotionally than I anticipated, and I think that's due to like a lot of different things. But I think going into it, I just thought like, oh, well, I've already moved to a big city when I was even younger. Like I moved to LA when I was freshly 18. I was traveling down there a bunch by myself when I was 17. And it just felt easy. Like I was like NBD, like I should be able to do this again. I'm so much older, I have way more experience in life, like whatever. But there was just a lot of things that were really hard. We're not gonna necessarily get into all of that right now, but anyway, I still know that I made the right decision though, even though it was hard. And it's weird because like the other week, it was like a couple weeks ago, I was actually watching a music video. You know what it was? Somebody on TikTok used the song Studio by Schoolboy Q. Classic song. And I was like, I'm gonna listen to this. And I was already on YouTube, like on my computer. And I was like, I've never seen the music video. Like, let me watch the music video. And there was so much footage of like downtown LA and like just the freeways and like just LA. And I was like getting like nostalgic. Like I was like, oh my God. And I think especially just the downtown LA skyline it was like emotional, even though it's like, there's like basically a naked girl in the music video, and it's like, I was like, oh my God, the skyline though. I was nostalgic. I was like a little sad. I was like, damn, like I miss that. I missed my apartment, but then it's like, okay, I have to kind of, like, yeah, I can honor that, honor those memories and like that era and stage of my life, but also, like, first of all, just think of the reality of every day feeling unsafe walking around, feeling super isolated, and like, I always kind of wanted that sense of community. And like, I don't know, like, here it's like people recognize you, like, not like as a subscriber, but like the guy at the deli, or like, I don't know, people just start recognizing you and like saying hi. And like, I like that. And I always wanted that in LA, but it was just like not that. And it's like, I'm getting way more street harassment. It's just like reminding myself of kind of the reality and like why I moved and like why I wanted to get away from that, and kind of like why I made that sacrifice of like, okay, I love my apartment, but that's kind of it. No shade. The weather's nice, but I'm like, okay, like it's kind of getting boring. I don't know. Even though there was, of course, pros, there was fun times, there was good times, it was like, okay, this can only go on for so long. Something needs to, like, a change needs to be made. And I said this a couple episodes ago about burnout. Something that Shira7 said that has just stuck with me over the past few weeks. It was from an older video, but somebody asked her about having regrets and like just feeling bad about past life decisions or like stages of life and like SMH. And she said, you have to look to the future and get excited about all the future opportunities and experiences that are coming your way. And that just really hit, because it's like, wait, true. Like, I'm thinking about the past, I'm like, I miss that. I should have appreciated that more. I should have appreciated my live-in washer dryer. Or like, damn, I would be at the club and there would be all these like I could have, why didn't I like try to have more pull with like someone who actually could have like done something for me? Like, I don't, like what? But then it's like, oh, I can be using what I've learned from the past, even if it was from past mistakes or things I wish I did differently, and apply that to the now and get excited. And it's just all about your perspective. You know, we see, I don't know about you. I feel like I have seen so many people live so much in the past. And I think especially when I was younger, I was just always like, kind of, on one hand, not really understand that. And then also know that I didn't want that for myself. And I feel like this is where it kind of starts to set in, like maybe your late 20s, because you have enough life experience kind of as an adult to like have a point of reference, versus if you're like a teen, it's like you're not like thinking back to elementary school like, oh, I wish I did things differently. Like, you're looking to the future because that's like coming of age, oh my God, graduation, like, you know. But then once you're an adult, it's like so easy to just look backwards all the time and like, oh, I should have done this, could have done this, like I would do this differently. And so I have been trying to remind myself of like that almost hunger and like excitement about life and the world and wanting new experiences. Like, I don't know if it's social media making us jaded, and just like sometimes it's like nothing seems cool because everything's been done so much. You know? Like, I just feel like in 2016, this is kind of a side note, but like in 2016, I remember posting my pics like in Paris and being like, this is like so cool, like, you know. And now it's just kind of like, okay, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like IG has changed too. But you know, it's like, it's just very easy to kind of get in that mindset of like, it's not even worth like trying because it's been done, or like, oh, like it's not, you know, it's not worth it, or like, I should have done that earlier, like, oh, you know, like give yourself all these excuses on why you can't do something, or like why you should have done it already. And we just have to get out of that frame of thinking. I think in order to continually have that growth mindset and excitement about the future and belief in yourself and in your life and in the universe, you need to continually be exposing yourself. Like, first of all, continually exposing yourself to media that is giving you that kind of messaging that it's possible. Get on your law of attraction videos vibe if you want. Watch people like the Stella Like, I love watching a good Sheer 7 video. There are a few other channels that are just about personal growth and development. You know, I like a good mix of practical advice and hearing people's perspectives and just kind of getting in that frame of mind. And then also some kind of mystical vibes like manifestation. I like a mix, you know. Also, increase your ability to be uncomfortable. If there's even like one small thing that you're like, it's like force yourself to do it because that also compounds over time and it makes the harder stuff easier as well because you're putting self-trust in yourself that, okay, I can do something uncomfortable and get through it. It could be something like going to drinks with your friends and like choosing not to drink, going to a party and choosing not to drink. It could be like asking for someone at the grocery store to help you. Sometimes, like, when you really think about it, there are the smallest things where maybe you just are like, oh, I'm not gonna do that because, like, something about it feels scary. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's like something silly. So just practicing that awareness and like forcing yourself to do small, scary stuff. Because again, it's like as we get older, a lot of people tend to very easily get just stuck in their ways. And it's like, well, I've always been like this, so there's no point in even trying to do something differently. So you have to actively work against that. I think also just enjoying life in the sense of like, the first thing that came to mind was art, watching a really good film, going to art galleries, creating art yourself. Like, it doesn't mean you're like, I'm the world's best painter. Like, you can do something just because it feels good. Have y'all seen that post that it's like, it is innately human to do things like sing and dance and paint and like create things, but now it's like, well, you have to be good at it in order to do it. And it's like, no, we just like do that. Continually tapping into your artistic, creative, playful, at times maybe like light and childlike side. The monotony of life can get very, very boring and very easy to surrender to. You know, it's so easy to just be like, okay, fine, I give up. Y'all got me. I'm gonna be like this forever. I'm never gonna ask for anything else. I'm never gonna want more for myself. I'm never gonna change. It's impossible. That's like the default. So you have to actively work against that. Really tap into things that inspire you, people that inspire you, and act on that. And I was actually just watching a Sheer 7 video before this about loving yourself. And you know, if you know her, you know, she always emphasizes getting up and getting ready every single day. Like putting on a nice outfit, doing your hair, doing your makeup. Don't get me wrong, y'all. I do not do a full beat every day. I'm like on the train. It's like kind of like, okay. But I definitely do makeup every day. I do something with my hair every day and I look cute and put together even if it's not like a nice outfit. You know, in the sense like I'm not wearing like a nice dress every day, but I'm like put together. Even if it's loungewear, it looks nice. You know, keeping your home clean, doing what you can to make it look cute and nice and how you want. Little things like that also just increase your joy and like almost motivation for life. And it's like, okay, we are allowed to have nice things and we are allowed to enjoy the benefits of like having luxuries like a clean home and like that should be a requirement, but you know what I mean? So I think of loneliness and how this kind of relates. And I don't mean to sound like, I don't know, one of those, what's the word? You know, that kind of it is leaning towards red pill when they're like being stoic. Like, I don't mean to sound like that, but I think when you are in this, does this even sound like that? I don't know. But when you are in this in-between period of like glowing up, kind of in between maybe friend circles or like, what am I even doing? I feel very alone. It's like, embrace it, you know? Like sometimes it's really good to have all of your energy be on yourself. And I think also as you get older, like I just saw a tweet the other day. It was a really beautiful photo and like if this is you, that's great. I'm happy for you. It was this long table, all these people doing like a paint and sip or something. And the quote of the tweet was like, I can't wait till I have a huge friend group like this where we can do things like that. I think part of growing up is realizing you do not need a huge friend group. And I think this is another, I don't know about other countries, but to me, this seems like a very, again, very American kind of idea. Like you need this huge friend group and you go through everything in life together. For me, everyone has their own opinion and experience. To me, to me, the probability that a big group of people that are all friends are all going to be like emotionally mature, not annoying, not get into any like petty fights that is like then causing me stress seems pretty low. I don't know. I just think having quality friends is more important than having a big group of friends. Having quality friends is more important than quantity. And I think something I really don't like is like, a person that has a huge group of friends. In my experience, those people are always a little fake. Like they're always calling everyone their best friend. Oh my God, you're my best friend though. Like, you're my best friend. It's like, so everyone's your best friend? Like what? And then things just get weird. I don't know. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? I just feel like it's way more important to focus on yourself. And like, don't get me wrong, y'all. Humans are social creatures. We need like relationships and human interaction. Like, I'm not saying you should be able to go through life completely alone and never feel lonely or bad about it. No. But I think embracing, a season of maybe a little more solitude and working on yourself and pouring all of your energy and attention and time back into yourself, I think that is very needed from time to time, especially as a woman, because we are typically more likely to be giving to others, like giving our time, our energy, being helpful, holding space for people, listening to them. And so periods of, being by ourselves or just taking ourselves out, it's very needed. And that also doesn't have to be forever, So I think fully embracing the season almost allows it to be over quicker, if that makes sense, because you're embodying and like taking full advantage of all you have to gain from that season. It's like with an emotion. Like if you're trying so hard to not feel an emotion, it's going to haunt you for so long. Versus if you just let yourself cry, if you just feel it, if you face whatever it is you're running from, it just goes through you and that's that. And bye, okay. No harm, no foul, no trauma. We're not thinking about it necessarily for years to come. And the same is true for like seasons that we're in. Like if you are in this in-between stage and you're like, I just want my friend group to do sip and paint, and like you don't want to be walking around with that desperation, like, oh my God, like I'm not complete without my huge friend group or like a relationship or whatever. People can feel when you're desperate and people don't want to be around that. Ever since I have actively been trying to not do the most, I don't know if you guys watched like Khloe Kardashian's podcast, but in her episode with Kourtney, she was like, Kourtney, what's something you don't like about me? And Kourtney was like, I hate when you like have these super long responses to texts. And Khloe was like, I just want people to feel seen by me. I feel like ever since I stopped doing the most, because I relate to that. It's like, I want people to feel seen by me. I want people to feel included. I want people to feel like you know, I'm on their side maybe, or like, I don't know. But then it was like, I kind of had to realize that I don't need to do that. And usually that will actually end up attracting people who will take advantage of that, So it's not about being like a cold B word, but it's just like you don't need to do the most. Because then it's like often that leads to resentment because most people aren't going to do that for you. So it's like you're kind of treating others how you want to be treated, but then it's actually attracting like users and like narcissistic type of people, and you're just giving and giving and they're never really reciprocating. So ever since I've been super conscious of this and like not doing the most and purposefully like shortening my responses or like not reaching out first, it's like crazy how much more people kind of respect you and like want to make time for you and all of these things. It's like, oh, I just had to like stop doing the most. So embrace the season that you're in. Don't walk around with desperate energy. And that goes for friendships, that goes for dating, that goes for anything. Like, really, the secret is to not like be full of yourself, but to just be okay in your own energy and to be like grounded and know that you like your relationship with yourself is the most important. That doesn't mean be narcissistic and like everyone else has to revolve around you. You know what I mean? But it's like I am okay in my own energy. I'm not desperate. I don't need someone else's like attention or anything. And I think just actively working on that helps so much with those feelings of loneliness because you also, and this is like another big part, I think, of like going through all of this and getting older and your brain fully developing. It's like, and I don't mean to sound, I don't know, like judgmental or like I'm better than anyone, but I just feel like being aware of these things also kind of makes me more aware of them in other people. So sometimes it can be almost more overwhelming. I think is she just like an empath? More overwhelming to be around all these different people. And don't get me wrong, it's like a good friend is a good friend, period. You recharge each other and it's like nice to like talk and hang out and like do things, whatever. But I'm talking about more so like, oh, just hanging out with someone because you don't want to be alone or like you don't want to feel like you have no friends, you know? It's like you kind of realize like people have a lot of issues. It's like I just want to be working on my own issues. And I think a huge example of this is like when it comes to dating, and I think especially, getting around this age, it's like can't blame anyone because there is a lot of external pressure to settle down, and you see your peers getting married and, engaged and coupling up and like having kids, and it's like, first of all, whoa, like aren't y'all supposed to be at the club type shit? But just these boy crazy girls, for lack of a better term, to put it in sheer seven, that are acting like complete pygmishas. And it's like, I don't want to be around that. Like, I don't want to go out with you because you're going to make me look bad. Like, I don't want to be around a girl desperate for, like, a boyfriend or something. And then it's like, okay, I'm not going to, like, give you unsolicited advice or, like, tell you what to do. But to a certain extent, it gets exhausting to, like, hear someone's story about how this guy, like, did this and that to them and they just keep accepting that behavior and going back. It's like, I cannot be around that, bro. Like, I can't. It's exhausting. Like, girl, I know it's very normal in the sense of, like, that's kind of what society teaches women to do. And it's like, you kind of really have to, like, actively unlearn that in a lot of cases, unless, like, your mom or, like, older sister or someone, like, put you on from a young age. But I can't. And that's another thing, too. It's like, it's not about, like, oh, like, this person, like, is beneath me or something, but it's like when you're aware of these things, you are aware in how it affects you. And if you are noticing, like, I'm feeling drained around this person, or like, if I'm gonna be sober, I don't, like, I'm noticing I'm not having a good time around this person. And it's because they're draining my energy, and I don't have that barrier of like alcohol or whatever to like make it feel kind of okay. And again, the same goes for like dating. Like if someone is suddenly like super annoying, it's like, oh, you were always annoying. I just wasn't as aware because I was like drinking. Point of all of that being embrace the season that you're in. Like the more you are aware of your own feelings and inner voice, the more okay you are with being alone because like there's always something I could be doing. I don't feel this desperation to like feel included or like, oh, be in a relationship or like do my can't even say it, paint and sip with 20 people because I see the reality that may come from that. And like, I don't want to force something that is ultimately going to bring me more stress or like issues or take me out of my energy or just make me have a bad time. I hope this is making sense, but yeah, embrace it and the right opportunities will come. The sooner you embrace where you're at, the faster you will attract where you do want to be. Period. So, I would love to hear your thoughts on any of this. Let me know what you think down below. But have you ever been, in that kind of in-between stage where you're like, what? And it's like, do I go back? And it's like, nope, can't go back. So I have to go forward. But what is forward? IDK. It's a lot. It can be overwhelming, but it is completely normal, y'all. And I think this can really be a positive, beautiful period of change and dreaming and getting in touch with your innermost desires. But like really tapping into what your values are and what you see for yourself and just aligning yourself to that. You know, it's like the world is your oyster, truly. And you can do whatever you want. You do not have to live by a pre-made, playbook or script that society or your family or whatever gives you. Like, you can do what you want. Period. So, love you guys so much. Let me know your thoughts down below. Don't forget to follow and subscribe if you're not already. And I will talk to you guys next week. Bye, everyone.